Hey, are you an epic Destiny 2 gamer? Do you go about your day, go to work, maybe go to school, thinking about, reminiscing about the time with the boys playing Destiny 2, playing the Crucible, maybe even touching PvE occasionally? Is that who you are? Do you drive home after a long, hard day, sit down at your couch or your computer chair, and boot up Destiny 2 to relax, and this happens to you? Is that hand cannon just not reaching as far as you need it to? Are those snipers in the back putting an end to your W key shotgun fun fest? And since BattleEye came out, are you no longer able to snipe with the big boys? Don't worry, I can't do it anymore either. Now I know change can be scary, and you may be looking at new weapons season over season and going, but it's not a hand cannon, it's not a shotgun, it's not a sniper, why would I ever use it in the Crucible? And that's okay. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a scout rifle. Alright, thank you for humoring me on that intro. Today we're going to be talking about the Contingency Plan. It is by far my favorite weapon in Season of the Lost, and is one of my new go-to main PvP weapons. That's right, I am doing endgame PvP, trials, comp, whatever, with a rapid-fire scout right now. It is a great off-meta option, and we're going to get into why right now. So, in Season of the Lost, two brand new legendary rapid-fire scouts were introduced, Servant Leader and Contingency Plan. This is huge, as in the post-sunset era, we've only had one non-sunset legendary rapid-fire scout rifle, and that was the Trustee from the Deepstone Crypt Raid. And while Trustee has a great stat package and overall great feel, great scope, great zoom, what it lacked was a traditional damage perk. Rapid-fire scouts are an archetype weapon that benefit most greatly from damage perks like Kill Clip or Rampage, because it can significantly lower its time to kill. But before we get too into the weeds about the stats, why rapid-fire scouts as an archetype? Where do they fit into the current meta? Well, right now, with the current state of hand cannons, pulses, and auto rifles, what we have is a primary meta that pretty much sits in between 0 and about 37 meters of effective range. That's where your 140 hand cannons sit, most of your regular pulse rifles outside of the high impact sit, as well as most auto rifles. So the top used weapons in the meta, like Vex Mythoclast, Palindrome Adept, Fatebringer, Ace of Spades, all these things sit in this close to close medium range engagement distance. But a lot of maps offer very common angles much longer than 37 meters. So a weapon with good medium to long range dueling capabilities can really box out some of these very popular meta contending options. Think about how good No Time to Explain or Messenger can be in those situations where you're outside of hand cannon distance, and sometimes teams can't even close the gap on you because they can't get the damage off with their primary weapons. So if the goal with Contingency Plan is just to outrange traditional primaries and lock out corridors, why not use the more popular scout rifle option right now in Dead Man's Tale? Well, now that Dead Man's Tale has been reined in and made a much more reasonable option to use, it's lost one of its main viability, and that was high rate of fire range suppression. When you could spam hipfire from 70 meters away at 150 rounds per minute, that was incredibly oppressive because of a very lightning fast time to kill, high flinch factor, and most of all, it would put a ton of pressure onto snipers and people trying to close the distance. Now that Dead Man's Tale only has around 40 to 50 meters with its hipfire and has to rely on its iron sights more, that 120 RPM limitation leaves a lot more wiggle room for snipers to not only one, hit you through flinch, but also for players to use cover to their advantage and close the distance because you're not using the same volume of fire as before. Now, of course, you guys are smart, I believe in you, so you know that a 120 RPM Dead Man's Tale and a Contingency Plan at 260 RPM actually have the same base time to kill, roughly, right around 1 second. So why is Contingency Plan so much better in my opinion? Well, it comes down to a few key factors that we are about to break down. This is why Contingency Plan is the best scout rifle in the game. Let's start off with arguably the most important hidden stat in the game that should be displayed on every weapon but isn't, and you have to use third parties to find it out, and that's zoom. Now, there was a lot of hype at the start of the season over Servant Leader, which is the Gambit-specific rapid-fire scout rifle and the other big main competition to Contingency Plan in the kinetic slot. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Servant Leader really checked all the boxes. It had all of the god-tier perks you could ever want, it had great looks, great feel, great sound, but when you dive under the hood, one glaring problem stands out, and that's its zoom stat. Here's a side-by-side comparison of Servant Leader and Contingency Plan. Do you see an issue here? Servant Leader is staring into the soul of my friend Crucible Gumi, meanwhile Contingency Plan is nice and set back almost like a hand cannon scope. Or I guess more like an auto rifle in this case, but you get what I'm saying. The difference between 26 and 20 zoom is actually tangible in real game scenarios, especially when it comes down to dueling inside of 40 or 50 meters, i.e. where 95% of all engagements in Destiny 2 lie in. If you want to have this scout rifle and have this playstyle that can still hang in close quarters with hand cannon shotgun rushers, then your zoom becomes a big factor. Contingency Plan has the very standard 20 zoom of rapid fire scouts, something that I actually didn't know was fairly standard until I did this video. Randy's throwing knife, Symmetry, and Trusty all sit between 19 and 20 zoom alongside the Contingency Plan, and I think that's part of the reason that they all feel so good. For me personally, and I have to stress personally, the high zoom of Servant Leader is the #1 reason I do not recommend it over Contingency Plan. The second reason is perks and RNG, so let's briefly touch on that. Now, Contingency Plan and Servant Leader are very much two sides of the same coin. You have Servant Leader, something that can somewhat be target farmed by playing Gambit till your soul dies, but at the cost of a perk list that reads like War and Peace. Meanwhile, Contingency Plan is a world drop weapon. There is no real way to target farm other than focusing Umbral engrams in the Season of the Lost section of the Umbral Decoder and going for world drop weapons, or hoping you can roll the slot machine at Rahul or the Gunsmith by spending thousands and thousands of materials and hoping to get a drop. But as a compensation for that RNG to get the Contingency Plan to drop, its perk pool very small, very small boy. So your odds of getting the holy kill clip with any real combination of left perk columns, because they're mostly all good, is actually much higher. So I think on the balance of probability, getting a usable or even God Roll Contingency Plan is much easier than getting a usable or God Roll Servant Leader. So really, in that regard, it's especially pick your poison, because do you want to grind Gambit and deal with the 30,000 perks, or do you want to play the game passively and just every time you get a Contingency Plan, have that chance to get a God Roll off meta God in PvP? With the differences in zoom, honestly for me this is kind of a no-brainer. I will take the Contingency Plan any day. I don't have to play Gambit, and I get something that's much more versatile in my opinion. So let's talk more about that versatility. There are 3 key things that make Contingency Plan a viable off-meta option in PvP right now. Flinch factor, time to kill shifts, and the ability to control lanes and shut down map control for the opposition. So let's break those down one at a time. Alright, let's start off with the flinch factor. Flinch is much more oppressive depending on the rate of fire. This is why auto rifles can feel like you're being sent to the moon, whereas if you shoot one hand cannon shot, you may get a brief burst of very high flinch, but then it'll go away. Fun fact, this is why 180s with explosive payload are very obnoxious. So, Contingency Plan sitting at a crispy 260 RPM with great range and great ability to land multiple precision shots. Therefore, you can challenge lanes, tell those snipers no, the red glint shall not be victorious today, and then plink 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 until they can no longer see. Unfortunately, the drawback of this is that sometimes you will just get RNG headshot through flinch. That's the nature of the game. Unfortunately, people will just aim at your feet and let you flinch a headshot, and controller friction can be very obnoxious to deal with in terms of its ability to mitigate flinch. However, your probability of shutting down all snipers in the lobby is actually quite high as long as you can get the first shot off and not get outsniped. Moving on, we have TTK shifts. Of course, as we've already said, a 1 second base time to kill is nothing to write home about. That is, of course, the 120 RPM hand cannon time to kill. But just like the 120 RPM hand cannons, what makes Contingency Plan very disgusting is how it uses damage perks to drastically, and I do mean drastically, lower its time to kill. With kill clip active, you go down to 0.73 already, and 0.73 is already faster than 140 hand cannons, so you're already comfortably outpacing some of the most powerful weapons in the meta. If you then stack kill clip with any other damage stacking boost like Charge with Light, High Energy Fire, Empowering Rift, Weapons of Light, whatever you want, if it stacks with kill clip, you are now 3-tapping 75 per crit to the head, and you will achieve a lightning fast time to kill of around 0.43 seconds. You want to see how fast it is? Boom, here you go. See how fast that guy died? He died real fast. That was real fast. You can let's see it again. Run it back. Look at how fast he died. That's real fast. 3-tap? Yeah, pretty fast. And do keep in mind that while that lower base time to kill can be highly detrimental, the whole point of a scout rifle is to sit outside of other weapons' effective ranges. When hand cannons no longer 3-tap and auto rifles take 17 million bullets to kill you, it doesn't matter. Everyone has a slower time to kill than you, so it's really offset unless you get pushed inside of effective ranges. And lastly, we have lane control. The entire strength of the scout rifle playstyle is to embrace the life of Larry. Live like Larry and control those lanes. Your ability to shut down and control the map is pivotal to your effectiveness as a scout rifle user, and that definitely goes for Contingency Plan. Contingency Plan is definitely more moldable. You can be much more loose with your playstyle, you can be more aggressive, you can get inside of that 40-meter range and duel. I do it all the time, it's quite fun. But sitting back, saying that snipers can't control these lanes, shotguns can't push these lanes, is the bread and butter of this playstyle. So learn your maps, learn your common angles, and learn how to shut down, stay still, play a little more patient, and you'll get incredible results out of these scout rifles. But it is not all sunshines, rainbows, and free WeRans over here in the Contingency Land meta. Unfortunately, there are quite a few things that you have to deal with in terms of viable counters when you do this playstyle. Obviously, the biggest thing, you're using a scout rifle. If hand cannons can close the distance and get inside their effective range, they win. They have the faster base time to kill and they can use cover better to their advantage. That's why hand cannons are so good and why they've been the best weapon in Destiny since the dawn of time. Obviously, if you get pushed by a submachine gun, you're dead. You get pushed by a shotgun, you're probably dead. That's why you use a shotgun with it, by the way. Use shotguns with Contingency Plan, obviously. But don't sleep on double primary, we'll touch on that in a minute. And even when you're in your comfortable wheelhouse in that 50 to 60 meter range of beauty, you're dealing with snipers, and that is unfortunately an RNG fight. Due to the nature of flinch in this game, as I've already said, when you're flinching a sniper, they can try and abuse flinch and try and hit you through it by aiming lower down into the body and hoping to flinch a headshot. Also, controller players double up on this pain by using friction to their advantage to basically mitigate most of the effects of flinch. Most of the time, you're going to shut down lanes, you're going to shut down snipers, they're not going to be able to hit you. But every once in a while, you're going to be plinking a sniper and unfortunately you're just going to catch a body. Like, you're just going to take one to the dome and that is what it is. It's very frustrating, trust me, but you just kind of have to learn to live with it. It's part of the playstyle. Public enemy number 1 to Contingency Plan and Rapid Fire Scouts, by far, are high impact pulse rifles. Specifically, No Time to Explain and Messenger. These not only have very similar ranges, they have a much faster base time to kill, and even with kill clip active, they still outpace Contingency Plan in terms of their base time to kill. No Time to Explain is a laser, it's disgusting, it literally hits headshots for free, and it can duel in Contingency Plan's wheelhouse. Messenger obviously goes burr with Desperado and is also a large problem. Overall, the things that can hurt Contingency Plan are definitely hard to deal with, but they're not insurmountable odds. You can definitely play around these shortcomings, especially as you get more comfortable with the playstyle, but I would be doing a disservice to you in this video if I didn't lay out these issues as we went along. Overall, Contingency Plan brings a nice, fresh bit of flavor into the Crucible meta. It is versatile, lethal, and definitely something that people aren't going to expect, especially in endgame PvP content. In between the start and the end of making this video, the first week of the trials has come out. I've already gone flawless 4 times with Contingency Plan. It is fantastic. I went to 5500 max rank and competitive with Contingency Plan, and so far the role you've been seeing in this background footage already has 1,000 Crucible kills on it. It is by far one of my favorite new playstyles. Pair it with a shotgun, pair it with double primary. I love it with sidearms and SMGs too, especially when I'm not playing Titan. It's a very, very fun weapon, and keep an eye out when you get one dropped from a random thrall you just bopped. Let me know what you guys think of Contingency Plan in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you to the Crucible Goomies for the shoutouts and all the help. They are my good friends. I love them to death, and they help me with making these videos a lot, so big thank you to them. Obviously, no need to shout out. You guys probably already know who they are. Also, if you like me, somehow you like what I do, come over and see my Twitch streams, twitch.tv/lionars1337, also linked in the description down below. We've been streaming a ton of Destiny over there, whether it be solo flawless prophecy attempts, and I do stress attempts because I've failed many of them, whether it's playing PvP, we went 0 to 5500 on stream, whether it's playing trials, we played over 6 hours of trials last night on stream. It's been a great time. I'm usually hanging out with the Goomies, I'm usually hanging out with other friends in Clan Sentient, so overall, the vibes are good. The gameplay maybe, yeah, well, you know, it oscillates. But if you want to see me live, come check me out. I'd love to see you over there. Most of all, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.